Thank you, John. Brian Suit Show here on Talk Radio 790 KBC. And in the case of Elliot Rodger's mom and the various counselors, and by the way, there's a social worker involved. They could have told law enforcement to take him into custody for a 72-hour hold because it requires mental health professionals saying, yeah, we got a problem here. Because mommy could have talked to some of the high-priced counselors that they were shipping him off to and said he's gone around the deep end, he's making suicidal threats on YouTube, and the mental health mandatory reporter person could have said, yeah, I'll sign off on that, at which point Santa Barbara County knocks on his door, and they say, quote, and this is according to the law, by the way. This is actually Welfare and Institutions Code Section 5150. Knock, knock, knock. Hello? Are you Elliot Rodger? I am. My name is Deputy Midriff. I am a deputy in Santa Barbara County. You are not under criminal arrest, but I am taking you for an examination by mental health professionals at name of institution here. You will be told your rights by the mental health staff. Please turn around. And then you put him in handcuffs, you hook him up, put him in the back of your car. But this was not done when deputies went there. I don't know if mom didn't say the right words or whatever. Duane in Newbury Park, thanks for calling KBC.
Hey, Brian.
Howdy.
Thanks for taking my call. This is an impossible situation. I've been dealing with mental health issues for a long time. And clearly, Elliot was psychotic. I mean, anybody who was that self-absorbed, then that's not an excuse, but it's really difficult to get someone taken in on a 5150 hold. I have tried again and again and again. Right now, I did my own 5150 hold. My son's in jail for death threats to me.
Now, do you have, is it a requirement that you have to have a mental health professional sign off on that?
No, the police can do it if they have enough evidence, and it has to do with policy. I work with the CIT officers in Ventura County, Crisis Intervention Team, and they have criteria, okay? And that's one of the things the sheriff said. He didn't meet the criteria. Well, you know, a preponderance of evidence is criteria to me, but not always with the police.
And I think one of the things that has not, I haven't heard anyone in the media ask Sheriff Bill Brown is it a standard operating procedure for a welfare check, mental health welfare check, that your deputies go inside, or do you actually take no for an answer at the door? And real quickly, let me play him. This is from Saturday morning. Sheriff Bill Brown of Santa Barbara County.
We were asked by the mental health department to conduct a welfare check with Elliot Rodger. They found him to be, at that time, rather quiet and timid. He was polite and courteous. He was able to convince the deputies that there was no problem, that he wasn't going to hurt himself or anyone else.
So, I mean, I don't know if what they're used to is combative or petulant, but I would say, look, anyone can figure out if someone is sitting there for a minute playing a character.
No, because these, they're not stupid. They're crazy, okay? And my son, when the police come, when the authorities come, he pulls it together, and he can hold it together for a long time, okay? And he convinces them that he is just fine, there's no problem, and go on about your business. And really, as he becomes more and more psychotic, if you were to spend 40 minutes with him, it would start to become evident. The police don't do that. And really, they're not mental health professionals either. But
as I was saying, in my wife's experience as a former police officer, you go in the door. You say, do you mind if we come in? Because when you come in, that's where it's revealed. The filthy clothes are all over and uneaten food and the whole thing.
Yeah, but filthy clothes and uneaten food are not 5150 evidence, okay?
But, I mean, in this case, they had a specific concern by the mom about his threats of suicide and violence. They would come in, and by his own manifesto, he says the jig would have been up. They would have seen the weapons, the ammo. The guy had 41 10-round magazines, all California. I mean, 41 loaded mags and 3 handguns. The cops would have said, that's not normal there, Elliot.
Maybe. They may have found them. They may not have. Now, in the case of my son, he doesn't have the wherewithal to acquire a gun, and now he'll have a felony arrest. He will not acquire a gun, but he's going to get out, and he's still, he has paranoid schizophrenia, and he becomes psychotic, and he's still going to be a danger to people. Okay? I mean, I actually had to show them email death threats, and that was what got him put behind bars. But really, he doesn't need to be behind bars. He needs treatment, okay? When jail's not necessarily the place for him, but
No.
he's safe, I'm safe, and the public is safe.
Well, and that's what I mean. You bring up a good
that.
point, which is, okay, he's barred from purchasing a firearm, but in this case of this kid on Friday night, the first 3 were dead by machetes.
Exactly.
And your son can get a hold of a vehicle, or and I don't know if it's better to lose a kid to a BMW grill or a gunshot,
or an axe. He can certainly go to a store and buy an axe and come in and break my door down and kill me. Of course, I'm armed, so that wouldn't happen. But who wants that to happen? And what happens is people deny this over and over. I mean, parents go, "Oh, my son wouldn't do that." And finally, I got to the point where I said, "Yes, I've seen it happen." And it's very timely because he was put in jail in March, and I'm going, "Look, people, this is what you have to do."
But you know what? The more I watch this guy's video, the more I don't see any mental health issues. I see a raging narcissist who was raised all of his life, learning the language of therapists and psychology, throwing your slight against his self-esteem back at you because he was raised with this right of going through a world that's completely fair and everything happens for your own benefit.
You're talking about my son. He believes that everything that happens to him happens due to external circumstances. He externalizes everything. He thinks I'm the enemy, that I've mistreated him. He was raised in Camarillo, went to Cam High, but at 19 he became psychotic, and everything changed. And truly, you're right. Maybe these kids could have pets. I don't know, but when he's psychotic, he's had a break with reality, and nothing is his fault.
And how old is your son?
He's 32 now. He was sick. He got sick when he was 19.
And so I mean, where does it stand? He's in and out, and he's got a felony conviction now, but he's not in jail.
Yep.
He can go anywhere he wants.
He's currently in jail. They'll be releasing him. There'll be a hearing on June 13th, Friday the 13th of all things. But yes, it's really, really difficult to have someone taken in on a 5150. The police don't like to do it. Mental health services. He was visited by mental health services on 3 or 4 different occasions, and they said, "Oh, everything's fine here. He seems to be okay. Call us when he gets really bad."
All right, we'll learn more about this, and like I say, the thing about him is he had never committed a crime. He'd never been adjudicated mentally defective. He could put up a front of being a empathetic, normal human being with regret and remorse, but he was just consumed with narcissism, just consumed with how privileged he was, and he was mystified why attractive women wouldn't throw themselves at him, and I wonder where he got that. So,
well, my son is mystified that he doesn't have a job, he doesn't have a car, he doesn't have an education, and he's really bright. He plays 8 musical instruments and speaks 3 languages, but because of his behavior, and I sent you an email. I suspect there were a lot of people who knew, and they were in denial. They didn't want to see it. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, no, we know that. Like, it's become a frequent pattern now. When the rest of us say, "How could these parents unleash this oxygen thief on the rest of us?" Whether it's Adam Lanza in Connecticut, but all right, Duane, thanks for the call.